Dear students, how are you? This is Muhammad Habibur Rahman, Associate Professor of English, Rajshahi College. Today, we will see Unit 11, Lesson 1. It contains tours and travels. And in this lesson 1, you will see a travel in rural Bangladesh. However, you see the text. If you go through the text, you will see a story, very interesting story. I think people in general like traveling, but it is a Bangladesh, rural Bangladesh, you will see here. And this is the view of a professor, European professor, that is professor from England perhaps. At the end you will see that he was from England, who taught in Dhaka University, firstly in between 1947 and 1951, and thereafter when we got independence, after independence in 1972, she again came here and taught in Dhaka University. However, in this story, we will see rural Bangladesh. Can you imagine how Bangladesh was in 1950s? You know the history of Bangladesh, and when you go through novels, stories, you see vividly through writers, and writers show you how Bangladesh was. In geography too, you can know how Bangladesh was. And now you see a different Bangladesh. There is a change, especially after liberation. We have a rapid change, and the person who are living and whose age are above 50 can remember how it was and can see how it is now. So there is a great change. And before starting the story, the writer of this text has thrown some questions. You see on the screen, Bangladesh, despite a fast-paced urbanization, still remains predominantly rural. That is, he thinks that still Bangladesh is a rural Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a rural country. How many villages are there now? We know 64,000, and he asks this question, is it only 64,000 or more? This is the question of political science. Okay, so you will see this. Have the villages changed much over the years? Certainly, there is a change, a great change. There is a great change in Bangladesh, all over the country, in every sphere of our life, in our diet too, in our culture too. Everywhere there is a change. How did they respond to the onslaught of urbanization or march of development or growth in education? Dear students, when there is a change, there is a problem, because nature goes in its own way. When we do something more on this, when we change anything in it, there is a problem. So, development is not only development, it is also a problem. Suppose we are using cars, motor vehicles, and other vehicles. We are using our transportation system. We have got a rapid transportation system, but as a result of this, we are polluting our environment. So this is a problem. When vehicles ply through roads, what is the problem? They create so much sound. So there is a sound problem. In this way, when we do something extra here, we create a problem. So this is the common question, general question: how did they respond to the onslaught, that is attack of urbanization or march of development or growth in education? So there are certainly some problems while there is urbanization, when there is development, and we build houses and we change our living house, we do so many things while we are having education. So certainly there are so many changes. However, now he says, in the following extract we will see a Bangladeshi village and the villagers through the eyes of an English professor from England who taught in Dhaka University twice, first between 1947 and 1951 and again in 1972. So he has made this thing clear that we will go through a story, and this story is written by a professor of Dhaka University. Here you see Dhaka University in modern spelling, Dhaka, Dhaka, but at the end of the story you will see the spelling was different, Dacca. However, now we are going to start the story, and you see the traffic traveling to a village in Bangladesh. So the professor of England is going to visit a country place, a rural remote place, and this is happening in 1950s. So very interesting. This is romantic, I think quite romantic, but at the same time this is also a type of thrill for her, because she is a woman. So she is traveling to see the country in a moonlit night in a train. That is quite interesting. This is quite romantic. So we should start the story. See, we set out on the evening of July 21st. So it was the setting, the writer stated. The setting is Bangladesh. Obviously, I think she is starting from Dhaka in a train, and this is 21 July. The year is not mentioned here, but we can guess this is between 1953 to 7. Food was scarce in the village, so Abdul packed a suitcase with 2 loaves and some tea and tins of milk, cheese and jam. Here the writer gives us the description of her food. What foods did she take with her? Loaves, 2 loaves of bread and some tea and tins of milk, cheese and jam. This is the food of a European man. This is not actually food of Bengali, and these foods can be taken intact. They use these things while journey and also at home. We traveled intermediate class in a cross-country train, not uncomfortably crowded. So they were traveling in an intermediate class in a cross-country train. Cross-country train means a train which is running through fields, through open fields, through rural areas. Not uncomfortably crowded. The train was crowded, but it was not so much uncomfortable. That is, she was quite comfortable in her journey through a country of shadowy loveliness. So she was marking this, she was noticing this, that there was shadow, and this created a lovely impression in her mind. It was a moonlit night of broken soft clouds. So the night was clear, but there was a cloud in the sky, and she marked some broken clouds. The land was mostly underwater. So, while passing through the country, rural area, she marked that the land was mostly underwater in the month of July, with paddy and cocoa palms growing from it. And sometimes she saw paddy fields, and she saw cocoa palms, that is coconut trees, palm trees, and a few raised cart tracks and groups of cottages islanded among clumps of bushes. And she also marked the roads which are raised, which are higher than common land or common fields. This is because roads are constructed in a way so that rain and floods cannot do any harm to it. This is usually higher than the level of common fields, and groups of cocoa palms growing from it, a few raised cart tracks and groups of cottages island. And so there are and some where she saw some houses which look like islands, because the land is mostly underwater. And she saw the villages, she saw the houses, and they look like islands among clumps of bushes. So there were bushes too. That time urbanization did not touch rural Bangladesh. As a result, the land which was not plowed was actually full with bushes. And sometimes she saw that among bushes there are clumps, that is thickets. Some bushes are more thick and very intense, and all reflected among shadows. They were all reflected among shadows. She saw them, although it was night. Here and there was the red glow of cooking fire or the lantern of a fisherman's boat in open water. And she also marked cooking fire, red glow of cooking fire. Women were cooking, people were cooking, and she noticed the red color of fire. And she also marked lantern or lamp with glass, and she also saw fisherman's boat in open water. So she has given us a vivid description of her journey. Firstly, we get the setting of the story, real story. This is and this is the month of July. This is time. Dear students, if anybody asks you that what is the setting of the story or what is the setting of the poem, what do you mean by setting? Setting is just time and place, when and where. Answer of two questions. Time is month of July in 1950s, and place rural Bangladesh. We know this is not a small town or a small place, rather this is a journey in a train, and that is why we cannot actually say a particular place is the setting. Rather we can say this is rural Bangladesh. However, thereafter comes another description. So, in the first description, we find the lovely scene and lovely scenario of Bangladesh, and it was moonlight. Although it is night, the writer or speaker vividly sees everything and gives us the description of those things, and the tone is happy. She feels lovely. Okay. Thereafter, at dawn, we reached Sonaimuri, a small canal side station among wide fields. From there, we had 8 more miles by country boat, some of it along the canal, some of it across the flooded paddy fields. So, the train journey is over. When the train journey is over, they reached a station, and the name of the station is Sonaimuri. And this is not the goal or destination of her journey. This is just a station. She has landed here, and from here she will start for another direction, and she gives this description. She says, a small canal side station among wide fields. From there, we had 8 more miles by country boat. So, they will have to travel for more some hours because it is 8 miles far from the destination, some of it along the canal, some of it across the flooded paddy fields. So, two things. Sometimes the boat was running through, plying through canals, and sometimes they were plying through paddy fields. There were paddy fields, but they were flooded paddy fields. That is why they could move with boats through the fields. I was looking forward to that tranquil water journey in the early morning, and tranquil it must have been, for I fell instantly asleep and knew no more till we reached the landing ghat at Khurshed's house, a blaze of sunlight. However, they were continuing their journey. Our speaker, professor, she was making the journey on boat, and now she says it was a tranquil journey. Why tranquil? Because when she was viewing around her in the boat, she felt a type of tranquility, and as soon as she felt that she was good and it made a good impression upon her, she fell asleep. That is, she was sleeping. She was sleeping and she could not see anything more till she reached the destination. What is the destination? Destination is landing hut at Khurshed's house. That is, she has reached Khurshed's house, but she cannot tell us how she came here when she was sleeping. However, the journey was comfortable, and Khurshed's house, after mentioning the name of Khurshed's house, she tells, in a blaze of sunlight. So then there was sunlight, and that is the flash of sunlight. It was quite broad daylight then. It turned out that his letter saying that he was bringing me was still on its way, but they rallied to the crisis and gathered round to make me welcome. Though, as none of them spoke any English, they could only stare and laugh and offer me coconut juice. So, the next thing, when a unknown person comes to any place, the people or inhabitants of that place become curious. They assemble there, they gather there to see the stranger. Here, this is a must because she is an European and with white skin. You know, English people are totally different from us in their skin. They are white and their height is taller. They are taller than us usually. And moreover, people of a village never saw any Englishman, perhaps, or any European man or woman. That is why a common curiosity, a very simple curiosity was there. And this will happen, this is a must. They gathered there, and this is a type of crisis because people want to see instantly. But all the people gathering in a place want to see a person at a time. They want to see an unknown person at a time. This is a problem. So this is certainly a crisis. The writer says it turned that his letter saying that she was bringing me was still on its way. That is, Khurshid sent a letter. She was with Khurshid, and Khurshid sent a letter to his village that he was coming with a lady, with a professor, and the letter could not reach there. But as soon as the lady reached there, people grew curious and the news spread fast. And this created a problem. And that is why they rallied to the crisis and gathered round to make me welcome. Actually, the lady thinks that they came to give her a welcome. This is not the main thing. The main thing is their curiosity. And they must offer her something that is another thing. And here we see they were offering her coconut juice. They don't know English. That is why they could not speak with her. They could only stare at her, look at her without any speech. And when they saw her, they laughed. They laughed why? Because she is strange. She is looking different. And they were marking her and they were perhaps looking with so much curiosity, examining everything, her eyes, her hair, her face, her nose, everything. That is why they grew so much elate, and they were delighted and they laughed. And this is the common thing. And our writer is describing this in a hilarious mood. She is enjoying everything. However, we see the next thing. Khurshid set me up a camp, a wooden bed, chair and table in a thatched bamboo outhouse. So she was given a shelter there, and this is a type of camp she described because this is a temporary place. She was provided there with wooden bed, chair and table. European people usually used chair that time, but Bangladeshi people or Bengalis got chair later. However, it was a thatched bamboo outhouse. This is not the house in a home. It is actually outside home. And why outside? Because so many people will come to see her. This is important, and there will be a gathering. So it was not possible for Khurshid to keep her in the interior place. Rather, she was kept in a outside house. It was a lovely spot among bamboo and cocoa palms, facing a tank where fireflies wove intricate dances at night. This is the description of night. Night grew, and the writer saw, she noticed the everything. She noticed everything around her, and she loved the cocoa palms, and also there was a tank, that is pond, facing the house, and there are fireflies. You know fireflies, that is zonaki in Bangla, and they fly in a zigzag movement, you know. And the writer describes this. They wove intricate dances at night. They were dancing. He thinks that fireflies are dancing. Actually, it is the intricate movement of fireflies, or zigzag movement, unpredictable movement of fireflies. Perhaps you also have enjoyed the movement of fireflies in a dark night. If the night is darker, you can enjoy the movement of fireflies. Okay. He put his own bed outside it for protection. He, that is Khurshid. Khurshid put his own bed beside it for protection, beside the camp where the writer stayed, and there I stayed, holding permanent court from dawn to bedtime. This is a type of court, permanent court, because people always are gathering there, they are coming, and they went there, and that is why the writer says that this is a type of permanent court from dawn to bedtime, from morning to evening or night. Within village memory, and that went back for some 2 centuries, I was the first European to go there. It was too remote even for a district commissioner to pass through. So this is a very, very remote place. A remote place. And how much remote? This is so much remote that no European within 2 centuries, as the village people can recollect, or they can remember, they found no one visited there, no European visited there within 2 centuries. Another thing is no district commissioner even passed through that village. It was so much remote. District commissioner actually never visit any village, we know. They are always in a town. Sometimes they go to any remote place for an invitation. That is different. But usually they don't roam about villages, because it is not possible for them to see every village. They are to remain in their station, in their office. However, you see the mention of European, this is because it was just after liberation from Britain. We have achieved independence from Britain. That is, it was the time of Pakistan period, and beginning of Pakistan period. And before this period, we know the British rulers ruled India, Bangladesh, and our subcontinent. And Bangladesh emerged as Pakistan, you know, East Pakistan, West Pakistan. This is the time. And Dhaka University appointed this lady as a professor in Dhaka University. Also, since I was a woman, the women could come at different times from the men to look at me without losing their characters. Another thing is very interesting. She described this in a hilarious tone because she wants to tell something about women. women of rural Bangladesh, she does not tell so much, but she expresses so much. You notice this is the power of a mighty writer, of a very powerful writer. That is, she can express more things through a few words. She says, since I was a woman, the women could come at different times from the men. So women came to see me and they came to me, but not with men. They had different time because they think that they may lose their characters. So mixing with mixing with men is a sin, in Islam, also in Hindu. People, men and women, we know, in general, believe in their own religions. And especially, we see here a Muslim family, Khurshid's family, and the visitors, maybe Muslim or Hindus, but the common law is that men can see, but women cannot see the lady at the same time, because women cannot come with men. And in that case, there is a possibility of losing their characters. This is the restriction of religion. However, through this idea, we see at that time women were restricted so much. But despite the restrictions, they came to satisfy their curiosity. They came to see the lady. Okay, and now we see, we should see some more lines to end the story. What happens then? People kept coming and coming. So this is like a rush of people. They kept coming and coming. Only the rains and the fact that few of them were rich enough to have boats prevented them from coming from 10 miles round. So people from different places within the reach of 10 miles, they visited our professor, and professor, you see A.G. Stock, Memoirs of Dhaka University. The name of the author is A.G. Stock. That is our professor. So they came to see A.G. Stock, and they kept coming and coming, and only two things prevented them from coming here. Only a few of them were rich enough to have boats. So this is the scene that express the poverty of people. All people didn't have boats. All people didn't have boats. Only few people have boats. As a result, all people could not come there to see the lady, to see the professor. This is one thing. Another thing is rain. Sometimes there was rainfall. As a rainfall, they could not come on time, or it prevented anyway. So these two things could only prevent those people from coming here to see the lady. When he saw that they would not stop coming, Khurshid fixed some curtains around the bed so that I could crawl behind them when I was tired of being looked at like a Jew animal into its sleeping hut. So this is the reality. Khurshid found that people would not stop coming to see the lady, and seeing this a very, very bothering incident, she hang a screen before the lady, before the door, and As a result, our lady could crawl herself behind them, and sometimes she was so much bored and she wanted to take rest, and she could do it because of the screen. And at the same time, the professor thought that she was like an animal in a zoo, because people were viewing her, people are seeing her in the same manner as people see animals in a zoo. This is not happy always. Children have, this is not happy, rather this is actually disgusting, I think. I was tired of being looked at like a zoo animal into its sleeping heart. Even then, the little heart would fill up with women and children. When there were no men, the little heart would fill up with women and children. They had easy access there. Children followed when I went out, and when Khurshid remonstrated, a small boy pleaded, "Don't send us away. After she has gone, not even a strange bird will come to the village." So, Khurshid wanted to prevent a small boy a time. Sometimes he did it to keep the lady safe. A boy told him that don't send us away because why? He says, after she has gone, not even a strange bird will come to the village. When the lady will leave the place, nobody will come here, even no bird will come here, even no strange bird will come here. Okay, so what is the interest of the people? The interest is only the lady. The professor is the central figure here. They came here only to see her, only to have an experience of a European lady. I stood up to the celebrity for the 2 days we had planned, but it was enough. The lady stayed there for 2 days, and they had planned that the lady would stay there for 2 days, and the lady now says it was enough. She did not want to extend the time. She did not want to stay there anymore because she is so much satisfied with the people, and even she is more satisfied now. She is bored. Okay, this is the memory. And you see at the end is this talk, Memoirs of Dhaka University, 1947 to 1951. So this is in 40s, 1940s, not 50s, 47 to 1950, and again 1973. That is, she again joined in independent Bangladesh in 1972. So here the story ends. Through this story, we have a graphic description of rural Bangladesh. This is one thing. We also see the culture of people, mixing of people, attitude of people, the economic condition of people too. We see most of the people are poor and they don't have boats, and they would not come to the spot to see an European lady. And another thing is curiosity of man. Another thing is love of Bengalis for the guests. They cordially received the lady. The lady is satisfied, and they loved people. And yet, still today, Bangladeshi people love foreigners. They love any foreigner. Whenever any a stranger is visible, they want to go there and they usually want to talk to them. This is the common notion of Bangladeshi people. However, dear students, after reading the text, you will see some question in your textbook. There are some questions. When and why did the author fell asleep during the journey? We know this is very comfortable journey on the boat, and she felt so much comfortable, and as she could not sleep in the train for viewing the natural beauty of Bangladesh, she fell asleep in the boat when the weather was cool. Why did the small boy plead after she has gone? Not even a strange bird will come to the village. The small boy expressed that actually the lady is the central figure here, and they had come there to see the lady only, nothing more. As a result, as soon as she would leave, they did not need to come there. Why was there a crisis when the author arrived? I have already explained it to you that a crisis is there when any stranger comes to any place, especially in remote areas. People are so much curious and they usually don't see foreigners, and as a result there is rush of people. This is the problem. The stranger becomes astonished, and he or she becomes so much amazed seeing so many people around him or her. Okay. Why did the women visit her? The women visited her only to see her, to see how the lady is different from Bangladeshi ladies. Okay. Find 3 evidences which suggest that the narrator enjoyed her visit. Okay, there are so many evidences that she had enjoyed the visit, because we found the word direct that it was lovely. She found loveliness, she found the bounty of nature, and she enjoyed the coconut juice the people offered her. In this way, she was cordially received. She expressed this, and that is why we are sure that she had enjoyed her visit. Why does the narrator compare herself to a sleeping Jew animal? This is quite natural that a person who finds so many people viewing him or her, she is like a Jew. And nowadays, any girl who is supposed to be married don't usually want to expose herself before so many unknown people. She claims that they are watching an animal, and she is not an animal. Okay, this is a matter of personality. What is the general tone of the passage? Happy tone, happy mood, very tranquil tone we see here. This is quite interesting. However, dear students, there are some phrases here which I have picked up from your textbook. You know the meaning of these phrases. Not uncomfortably crowded. That is crowded but comfortable. Not so much crowded. Knew no more. That is, did not know anymore. Rallied to the crisis. That is, gathered to the crisis. Rushed to the crisis. Tired of being looked at. That is, she was tired, she was bored that people were watching at her. Looking forward to. We know look forward to. That is, looking forward to. With a view to, you know these phrases. A blaze of sunlight. that is a flash of sunlight, of broken soft clouds. Clouds and clouds in so many pitches, and they look soft, usually soft. Fire flies of intricate dances. This is the intricate movement of fireflies over tank or over any over the pond. The writer visualized clumps of bushes, that is thickets of bushes or bushes within bushes. Okay, some bushes are intense and they are called clumps. Holding permanent coat, that is assuming permanent coat. It was like a court because people always were gathering there, and they were standing before the guest, and it looked like a court. And as it continued for the whole of the day, this is mentioned as permanent court. Kept coming and coming. That is continuous coming. People always were coming there to see the guest. Okay, dear students, you know there are so many questions which are usually set in our set against any comprehension. You will have those questions, but if you have thorough knowledge of the text, you will be able to answer all of them. So, dear students, in COVID-19 pandemic, you will take care yourself and take care of your family, and hope you will stay safe, and you will continue your studies, keeping yourself at home. So, thank you very much. Thank you.